Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make this earring right here. So it uses a really pretty piece of vintage filigree. We have some Swarovski flatback crystals and they're an SS7. And then I have these little paddle head pins with some Swarovski crystals that are 4mm round. And here are my base ingredients for this guy here. I've got those paddle head pins, the filigree, the earring hook, the flatbacks, and the rounds. And then I'm also going to be using a magical pick, a wire looping plier, a chain nose plier, a cutter, some GS Hypo cement, and a Vintaj relief block. And then over here to the side, you'll note I have some other really pretty vintage pieces. These are part of their newer collection, so I did just want to pull these out to show you how pretty they are. And actually, you could even sub a piece like this for this one here. Make a really big pair of earrings. So you can take the same technique that I'm going to show you here and use it on a lot of different pieces by Vintaj. So for our actual earring, I'm going to start by taking our relief block and we're going to sand over the top surface. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull out some of the shiny brass below. And it just brings out some of the detail. Now for this particular one, I want to make sure that the entire rim is nice and shiny. So I'm going to specifically focus on that and just work my way around. All right, so that's ready. And really quickly, before I continue with this project, I want to show you a nice before and after with another piece here. So you see this one here, it does have a lot of detail, but it's hard to see. And just taking that relief block and going over it ever so slightly, you really can pull out that detail. It's just a quick tip for something you can do with a lot of your pieces. So there's a nice contrast there. Let me put those aside and continue with our project. So we're going to first use the GS Hypo cement. And what's really nice about this filigree is it's got these swirls here, and I'm just going to put a crystal in the center of each of the swirls. So you'll notice when you take off your cap, this is one we've used before, but it has this long pin that goes into it, and that keeps it from spilling over. You'll always end up with like a little bit of glue on the tip. You can just take a piece of paper and pull that off. Just going to put a dab of glue in their centers. I'm not going to do all of them at once. I'm going to do 5 or 6. Take my magical pick and then just transfer the little flatbacks on here. And they're really nice and sparkly. This is Crystal Paradise Shine is the color. It's a pretty purple color with some green in it. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm going to add some more. It's good to do this step first because while you're doing the paddle head pins and you're putting the beads on them, the glue here can be drying. If you are making a project that does use glue like this, keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, there we go. So he is going to dry right there. And then I'm just going to get rid of the excess glue. And I'm going to take my cap, put that pin back in the nozzle and twist it shut, and that's ready to be used another time. And I'm going to use these great paddle head pins, and I'm going to put a bead on one. You'll notice my hands are a little bit dirty from the sanding block. That just washes off. And the design I have here, I wanted all the paddles to face forward. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to take my wire looping pliers and make sure that my loop goes like this versus like this, which would cause the paddle to hang sideways. So I'm just going to hold it, grasp it like so, Let me show you what it looks like from the side view here. And squeeze, and the wire looping pliers do a lot of the work for me. Rotate them up top and pull it around. So I have that nice loop. And now I'm just going to make a cut where the wires overlap. And I'm going to do that for 5 of these. Again, making sure the paddle faces forward for each of them. There we go. You notice I didn't bother to close my loops as I did this because I knew I was going to have to open them back up. They're pretty close, but they're not quite as precise as I would like for a finished piece of jewelry. Normally I would wait till this was fully dry, but I'm going to try to do it here so that we can continue with the video. So I'm going to be putting a little dangle from these open work areas, and I'm going to hang 5 of them. I'm going to pick up one of my dangles, and I'm going to open up the loop some more, just as if it was a jump ring. So I'm just going to twist it to the side. Carefully hold this now because I don't think those crystals are quite dry. And I'm going to put it through one of the bottom open work areas. And then I'm just going to close my loop. I'm going to repeat along some of the other open work areas. Okay, our last one. Close it on up. And now all we need to do is hang the earring hook from it. So we're going to open that base loop same way as we've opened all of our other loops. And just make sure that we put this on so that the pretty crystals are facing forward. Close that loop back up. And we have a really pretty pair of earrings. Let me show you the 2 of them together. There you go. So not very hard at all to make, but very sparkly and festive, and a fun way of creating a design using these wonderful vintage pieces in combination with some Swarovski crystal. You can find all the supplies you've seen here, these other pieces of vintage, as well as numerous other products and beading supplies at beadaholique.com.